The church sat on top of the hill like a crown over the small town of Edo State. Every Sunday morning, the sound of drums, worship songs, and shouting prayers echoed through the streets before sunrise. Vendors sold fat cakes outside the gate. Children ran around in polished shoes, while old women adjusted their white church hats proudly. And at the center of it all was Sister Evelyn, the pastor's wife, the woman everyone believed was chosen by God. She had a soft voice that could calm crying children instantly. She remembered everybody's birthdays. She visited the sick. She donated groceries to struggling families. During youth services, she sat among the children instead of the adults, smiling warmly, while boys climbed around her like she was their favorite aunt. The congregation adored her, especially the parents. "Your son is blessed," she would tell mothers. "The Lord has a special calling over him." And hearing those words from the pastor's wife made people proud. Nobody noticed the pattern at first. The boys she became closest to were always the same kind. Quiet boys, lonely boys, boys from broken homes, boys desperate for affection, boys nobody protected properly. One of them was Samuel. Samuel was only 10 when he first entered the church with torn shoes and dusty clothes after his mother died. His father drank heavily and disappeared for days at a time. Most adults ignored him, but not Sister Evelyn. She noticed him immediately. After service one Sunday, she knelt beside him and handed him a small lunchbox. "You must eat, sweetheart," she said gently. Samuel had never heard kindness spoken to him like that before. From that day forward, she became his safe place. She bought him school uniforms, paid his fees secretly, even convinced Pastor Daniel to allow Samuel to stay late after church for Bible mentorship. To everyone else it looked beautiful, a godly woman helping a struggling child. But slowly, the attention became something else. Private meetings, secret gifts, long conversations where she told Samuel he was special. She made him feel chosen, important. Then came the manipulation. "If anyone misunderstands our bond, they'll destroy the work God is doing in you. You trust me, don't you? Good boys don't betray people who love them." Samuel didn't fully understand what was happening to him. He only knew he began fearing church while pretending to love it. Soon, he stopped laughing with the other children. Teachers noticed he became withdrawn, nervous, sometimes angry for no reason. But every time concerns arose, Sister Evelyn defended him perfectly. "He's traumatized," she would say sadly. "The poor child has suffered so much," and because she sounded compassionate, everyone believed her, even Pastor Daniel. At first, Pastor Daniel loved his wife deeply. He believed she was one of the purest women he had ever known. She had helped build the church from nothing. She prayed for hours every night. People respected him because of her. But over time, strange things started bothering him. He noticed certain boys stopped attending church suddenly after getting close to Evelyn. Parents occasionally moved churches without explanation. One teenage boy burst into tears during prayer the moment Evelyn touched his shoulder. Then there were the whispers, small whispers, nothing clear enough to accuse anyone. One afternoon, Daniel entered Evelyn's office unexpectedly. Samuel was inside. The boy looked pale and frightened. Evelyn stood very close to him, gripping his chin tightly. The moment she saw her husband, her expression changed instantly into concern. Samuel was having another emotional episode, she explained calmly. Samuel lowered his eyes and said nothing. That silence haunted Pastor Daniel for weeks, but every time suspicion rose in his heart, guilt crushed it immediately. How could he think such evil about his own wife? So he buried the thought. Years passed. The church became massive. Sister Evelyn started women's conferences. People online called her Mama Evelyn. Videos of her praying over children spread across social media. Meanwhile, Samuel grew older, carrying secrets that poisoned him slowly from the inside. At 16, he stopped attending church completely. The congregation called him rebellious, ungrateful, lost. Nobody asked why, nobody wanted to know. Samuel spent years angry at everyone, at the church, at God, at himself. He struggled with nightmares, trust, relationships. Some nights he sat awake until sunrise, hearing Evelyn's voice in his head. No one will believe you. And honestly, he believed that too, because who would accuse a respected pastor's wife? Years later, Pastor Daniel himself began changing. The church success no longer made him happy. He noticed Evelyn becoming more controlling, more manipulative, especially whenever young boys were around. Then one evening, a mother stormed into his office crying. Her 12-year-old son refused to attend youth camp because he was terrified of Sister Evelyn. Pastor Daniel tried questioning the boy gently, but before the child could speak properly, Evelyn entered the office. The boy instantly went silent. Daniel saw it clearly that time. Fear, real fear. That night, for the first time in his life, Pastor Daniel could not pray, because deep down, he already knew. He just didn't want the truth. Weeks later, during the church's biggest revival service of the year, the building overflowed with worshippers. Cameras streamed the service live online. Choir members danced across the altar, while Sister Evelyn sat proudly beside her husband in white robes. Then the back doors opened. A man entered slowly. Tall, serious, rain dripping from his coat. Sister Evelyn looked toward the entrance casually, and her face lost all color. Samuel, older now, stronger, no longer afraid. The atmosphere shifted immediately. Pastor Daniel stared in confusion as Samuel walked steadily down the aisle carrying a black file in his hands. Some members recognized him and whispered, "That's Samuel, the troubled boy, the one who disappeared." Samuel stopped at the altar. His hands trembled slightly, but his voice did not. "You told this church you protect children," he said, staring directly at Evelyn, "but you destroyed mine." The church exploded into chaos. Some people shouted at him, others demanded proof, women cried. Cameras kept recording. Pastor Daniel stood frozen. Samuel opened the file slowly. Letters, old church records, photos, voice recordings, years of hidden evidence. Then something unexpected happened. A man stood up from the back row. I believe him. Another stood, then another, former church boys, now grown men, all carrying the same haunted expression. One began crying openly. Another couldn't even look at Evelyn. And in that moment the entire church realized the horrifying truth. This was never one accusation. It was a pattern. Pastor Daniel turned toward his wife slowly, his eyes filled with devastation. "Tell me this isn't true," he whispered. But Sister Evelyn said nothing. For the first time in decades, the woman who always had answers had none. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more amazing stories for you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.